Hello, folks. Hope you're doing all right. Welcome to Stay Well with Dr. Zorba Pastor.
That's me. I say that every time.
Every time. And it never gets old.
Me. When I get up in the morning, I say, that's me.
In the mirror?
I jump out of bed, I go, that's me. It's kind of like out of a movie.
That's right, folks. I'm sitting across the desk from the That's Me guy.
That would be such a strange thing. If you looked in the mirror in the morning, you'd say, That's me. that would be very odd. I do not do that.
He doesn't do that.
Welcome to the podcast.
He's right here.
Call 608-492-9292. Just giving you the number before I tell you what we're doing today. 608-492-9292. It was great getting that number.
It was. Really. You got to get it in.
Email me at askdrzorba@gmail.com. I love answering those emails. askdrzorba@gmail.com. Spell it out. And I've got a website, drzorba.org. Okay, I've done that's me. I've done the that's me.
You did your that's me.
I've done my part.
I'll try to do my little part now.
Do your part now.
I'm going to talk about what we're going to talk about. We got a big show, Zorba. Big show.
We do.
Today we're going to talk about that ultra green lawn and if there's a health risk associated with those chemicals.
Right. By the way, it used to be called ChemLawn. That was
sure.
The name of the company.
They rebranded to True Green.
True Green. Right, True Green. They should rebrand it to False Green.
Yeah,
because it's not.
It's like fluorescent green.
But think about it. They called it ChemLawn because people liked the idea of putting chemistry on the lawn. And we know the name because it was so popular.
Right, that's right.
I had neighbors who used ChemLawn. Beautiful lawn.
Ultra
beautiful
green,
lawn. Beautiful.
Fluorescent green
ultra
lawn.
Green. They don't call it ultra green.
No.
True Green.
All right, what else? Zorba's going to pick up the old hotline telephone and help out a caller.
Yes.
We'll get to some listener emails.
Yes.
My mom's going to unload one of her famous mom jokes on us. And we'll take a ride in the Wayback Machine and hear some radio from Zorba and my past. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, cool.
Zorba doesn't know what's coming here, folks.
I do not know.
He has no idea.
I do not. I have no idea.
But like Zorba said, the phone
I
number
like to
call...
be surprised.
Yeah.
That's me.
That's all right. Good callback. And if you want to call, 608-492-9292 anytime, and we might answer. Who knows?
What if I looked in the mirror and said, that's you?
That's you.
That would be really strange.
And then what if the guy in the mirror started talking to you?
Oh my God, that's another world. That is another world.
Adjust your meds. Okay, let's talk about our first topic here. You've got an email, actually. They signed it Concerned Parents in Milwaukee. And they wrote, Hi, Dr. Zorba. It's that time of year when the little white flags go up because everyone is using weed killers and blanket spraying their lawns. My spouse and I have different comfort levels with all the spraying of weed killer on lawns and at the parks. Are there health or cancer risks associated with weed spraying our lawn? How long should kids and pets stay off the lawn after a weed application? Because of all the pressure to have weed-free lawns in many neighborhoods, do you feel a safe option is to apply 2 or 3 applications a season instead of the typical 5 or 6 applications? Thank you. We love your show.
Oh, I think I'd leave the neighborhood.
Yeah.
That's another
it's hard
option.
to keep up with the Joneses.
That's another
option.
option.
Your neighbors have like weed-free, ultra green
Well, I do.
lawns.
I had, when I first moved into our neighborhood, I had a neighbor who used 2,4-D, which,
that's the chemical.
Big chemical. His lawn was weed-free. And then eventually things changed. His lawn looks like my lawn, which basically has different kinds of greens in it. I'm not for a lawn that looks fake. I mean, really think about it. Those lawns, if you're going to go play golf on a lawn and everything is perfect, the turf is perfect. It's fake. And I read a book about this, by the way, about the fact that, lawns that were perfect were a sign of wealth. It was a big issue that came around the fact that before there were weed killers, you had servants who went around and actually took the weeds out of the lawn. And so it was a sign of wealth. Eventually it became a middle class sign because you could use chemicals to do it. And that culture has continued, that you want to have a perfect lawn. So 2,4-D and things like that, do they cause cancer? Roundup, does it cause cancer? Come on, we've got lots of questions about that. And then, of course, the DEA, has looked at this and said, well, this is, safe and effective as used. So what does that mean? Where do you want your child to sit there? And there's some issues that we don't really quite understand. We know, for instance, that colorectal cancer has become more common in young adults. Now, is that due to ultra-processed foods? Because we know for instance, that a cancer of the colon, cancer of the esophagus is affected by diet. We know, for instance, that esophageal cancer is much more common in Scandinavian countries where they boil their coffee. We think that's an issue. We know that a cancer of the colon is more commonly associated with the Western diet. Well, do pesticides play a role? I think you've got to answer that question individually. So first of all, if you're going to have pesticides on your lawn, if you're actually going to do it, you got to keep the kids off of it. And how long are you going to keep them off of it? Well, I would certainly keep them off of it until I actually watered the lawn and got rid of the pesticide.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't just say, oh, the pesticide is off the lawn. Really? What about the chemical that's still staying down there? How is it off the lawn? Is it something called an aliphatic hydrocarbon, so it actually goes into the air and there's a gas? I don't think so. So first of all, I would not have your dog or your child on the lawn until you basically watered the lawn.
Even though they sometimes say it's okay after 24 hours or 48 hours.
I'm just telling you what I would do.
Okay. And
what I would do.
Hey, that's why we're listening,
where do the
right?
24 and 48 hours, where does the chemical go? Does it actually go into the air? Are we sure it goes
It evaporates,
in
I
the air?
would
But once
assume.
again, well, maybe.
That's what they're telling
Maybe
us.
some of it.
Yeah.
Maybe some of it evaporates. Maybe not all of it.
Yeah.
That's what they're telling us. Who's the there? They're the people who actually produced it, and then of course went through a good focus. But you've got to look at, like you do with everything else, individually. You've got to look at your comfort level.
Sure.
So, for instance, there's a number of people that buy organic food. They don't want any pesticides in their food. Okay,
Right.
That's their comfort level. There are other people that say, well, I'm going to buy an organic apple because the apple on the outside might have some pesticide. There's some questions there, but I don't care about berries because they're not using it. So you've got to look at your comfort level. Same thing when it comes to sitting on a lawn. What's your comfort level? So let me ask you, do you use pesticide on your lawn?
We haven't for years.
Forever
and years.
means you ever used it or you never used it?
We've never done it, and then this is the first. So
Yeah. Go ahead. Come to the truth. Come on.
This is
Come
the
to Papa.
first
Tell me
year.
the truth.
I basically lost the argument, the decades-long argument,
Yeah.
this year. So this is the first time, and they haven't put any of the spray out yet, really. But
Chemlon,
they
is that
did.
what you're using?
Yeah, we're using
Chemlon?
a Chembot.
They
comes
changed
out
it.
and-
Well, it was called Chemlon. Now
Right.
they call it True Green.
True Green.
Should be fake green versus True Green.
Well, funny thing is,
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this,
Yeah.
but in a past life, like an old job I had,
Yeah.
when I first moved to Madison years and years ago,
Yeah.
I'm out of college.
Yeah.
I worked for not True Green or any, but a large, company that, and I would spray lawns with weed killer and put fertilizer down and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'd get all the hose out, get all my stuff on, and I did it for about 2 years.
Yeah. Did you
and
wash up afterwards? And-
I did. I'd get
How
home
about
and
your
shower.
clothes?
Yeah, I try to wash his clothes.
But
They
not
were pretty
every day.
nasty though. After
it
that,
had the
yeah.
stuff on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't know. I worry about that exposure that I had.
I don't think you should worry about
No?
it. Can't do
Okay.
anything about it.
I don't know. I can't now.
You're going to worry.
Yeah.
Maybe worry causes cancer.
That's true. Maybe. You're not
You
making me
did-
feel better.
You did that for 2 years?
Yeah, for a couple summers I did that. Yeah. And
But that's it.
and so
we
I think
don't know completely what these things do.
that might be part
I
of
think
also
that's the
why I'd
answer.
never wanted to have it on our lawn.
We don't know. But you said you've lost the argument?
I have. My
What's
wife
the-
won the argument. She wanted to try it this year, so we're trying it. And hey, listeners, sorry.
I'm looking at your lawn. It looks pretty green.
It doesn't
But
look
it's the
like
beginning
ultra
of the
green.
season.
It's just because we've had so much rain, right? It's been
Did
a while.
you paint the lawn?
Yeah. Pantone
That's the other-
364.
Yeah, just take out the grass and just put AstroTurf. Then
Yeah,
you don't
why
have
not?
to worry.
There you go.
That's right. Or just roll it out in the summer and take it into the wintertime.
Not a bad
Anyway,
idea.
getting back to it, the issue with pesticides is you have to look at your comfort level, and then you have to look at who's going to be on the lawn. That's part of the comfort level.
Sure.
Do you have a dog or a cat? Are they on the lawn? And then you have to look at whether or not you picnic on the lawn. Do you sit there on the time? You're doing things on the lawn, or the kids on the lawn? And then make a decision. Like everything else in life, you have to make a decision of what risk you want to take. We take risks all the time and find out what is right for you.
If you have a question for the good doc, you can call this number anytime, 608-492-9292.
And don't forget, you can email me at askdrzorba@gmail.com. I do love to answer those emails, askdrzorba@gmail.com. And I've got a website, drzorba.org, so it's great.
All right, let's see if the good doc can help out a caller right now. This is a caller from Brownsville, Oregon. Hi.
Hi.
Hello, hello.
Good day to you. So wait a minute. I've been two of my kids went to the University of Oregon. I've been to the state. It's beautiful. I've got a good friend at Ashland. Where do you live? Where is it? It's a small town or a big town? I haven't heard of it.
It's a small town, maybe 2,000 people. It's famous for the Stand By Me movie.
Oh,
I love
Stand
that movie.
By Me?
That is an amazing movie.
And it's a very old town. So my home is turn of the century, 19th century, 1887 construction, and my neighbors are maybe a few years after that. And
Wow.
so it's a very old Oregon town,
Wow.
early pioneer town that has not grown like Portland or Salem or Eugene. We're about 30 minutes north of Eugene, on the east side of the Interstate 5.
So in it, Stand By Me was filmed in your town?
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
my
I'm a
God.
huge fan of that
I've
movie.
got to tell you, I mean, come on.
I love
Stand
that
By
movie.
Me
Yeah.
in the town. I can just picture the whole thing.
I
with the
watched
kids.
it with my kid, my not my youngest, but my 11-year-old.
How did he like it?
He liked it. There's a lot of complex, interesting stuff in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
But it was one of my favorites, and I
Yes.
saw it as a kid. My parents took me to it in the theater, and it's rated R, mostly because of the language. And it was the first rated R movie I ever saw that my parents knew about, because they took me. They're like, "Hey, Karl, we're going to take you to a rated R movie, but it's so good, and there's so much good stuff in it that it's okay. Just ignore the swearing." We're like, "Okay, yeah."
Ignore the swearing. Hey,
don't
Mom
think
and
I
Dad,
ignored
I
the
do
swearing.
know the swearing. That's right.
Yeah, this is all old news to me. I know this stuff.
Old news.
Anyways, I love that movie. How
So,
can Zorba
yeah,
help?
how can we help you?
Well, so, I'm a retired federal employee, so my career bounced around a lot around the United States and always had a bit of a challenge finding medical care that was good, I guess. I mean, it was tolerable and I got my needs met throughout my time, but often I had, visits with doctors that left me longing and wanting more information. So I moved to Oregon, retired, and I found a doctor in the little town of Silverton where I lived initially. And she was amazing for 8 years or so, and now she has retired. And much of your vein, like when I have a brother-in-law that's a retired doctor, that I think there was maybe a culture then, but I just became so used to her interactions at my physicals.
Right.
She was very thorough, very thorough. I mean, just skin reviews, and like she just was very thorough. Well, she retired. They didn't replace her yet, and I had my physical with my annual physical with a PA. And I didn't want to be mean or probey or make them feel like they were deficient, but I left, it was a very quick conversation, not thorough. And I kind of just left going, wait, was that it? Is that all I get? Just some labs and a quick conversation about, are my meds working for me, you know? And, so anyway, I'm kind of wondering how I go about finding a good doctor without being a jerk to the front desk
That's
people.
really, it's such a hard problem. So first of all, we have physicians, then we have nurse practitioners and advanced practitioners, and they can be as good. Many of them are as good. They have different training. I mean, doctors have more training. They go deeper into the science, and they often go deeper with other issues too. And then you've got the personality, and then you've got like the timeline, and there really is a difference in the culture that has developed over time. Now, I'm an old guy, so I don't want to say, well, life is really good before, but there was a transition period that occurred that became, it wasn't just thoroughness, it was the idea, you're coming to see me, I want to interact with you and learn about who you are. That kind of attitude versus I want to look at the computer screen and make sure I check all the boxes and ask you the questions. And there's a big difference here, I think, of that transition. And you're not the first person to mention it to me now. So I fill in my group part-time periodically. I gave up my full-time work a number of years ago. I worked like 2/3 time. And I had to send my patients to other people within my group. And I did that over a 1-year period. And a number of them then wrote me back and said, this is not the same. We had they didn't say they'd say, you got to know me and you wanted to know me. And so that is not an easy thing to do. But I do have some suggestions. So first of all, when you make an appointment next time, you say, I would like to, first of all, I don't want to see the same person. I want to see someone different. First of all, the front desk doesn't really care. They really don't. They're a receptionist. They may care, But it's your value of what you care about that counts. You're going there for value. So even if they care, or the PA or nurse practitioner or doctor, you're switching to somebody else, you're switching because they didn't do a good job. They're not going to ask you. And if they do, and they say, why did you switch? Then you say, you didn't do a good job, or you weren't very thorough, or do you want feedback, or are you really interested? The answer, the question, whether or not they're going to ask that, is probably zero. But if they did, you tell the truth, the old truth trick when questions. And then I would, when you're looking, if you're in a group practice, if you have somebody else that that goes to their practice, because you're in a small town near a medium town, I'd ask your friends and say, who do you see and do you like them? Okay. And that's the person who I would go to see, within a group. And I only want to see MDs. I mean, I had two PAs in my office who were really quite good. I think they were good, but they weren't MDs. And I want to see somebody with an MD who may pick up something differently. And let me give you kind of an interesting example that occurred the other day when I was in one of our groups. Okay. A patient came in. I don't know the person because it was in a different clinic. She had two kids, twins, okay? She is going on vacation. She wanted to know whether or not they had ear infections. One of the twins had pain in his ear. And so I looked in the ear, and she said, can you look in the ear of my other kid? He didn't not have an ear infection. Can you check the other child's ears too? Because we're going to be going on an airplane going to the Bahamas, and he's got tubes. Okay, no problem. Looked in. Tubes are in place. And then she said, do you think the tubes have to be removed? I said, I don't know. And she said, well, they've been in there 2 years. And I had a sister, and she had tubes in her ears. They were there too long, and then she inevitably needed something called a tympanoplasty because the hole in the ear from the tube never fully healed. So I'm concerned. I said, okay, well, then she said, I saw a nurse practitioner here who said, well, I don't know, I'm going to send you to ENT, okay? And then she said, I'd like to know what the good answer is. If I go to ENT, I've got to pay a deductible, I've got a high deductible, I've got to make an appointment, it's going to cost me money. And do you think those tubes have to be removed? I thought, this is a good idea. I'm a doctor. I'm going to look at it. The nurse practitioner, I don't know them, but they just said, turfed it to ENT, okay? They didn't take the responsibility of answering the question. The question is, the tubes have been in there for 2 years. Do they need to see ENT? She just did that. So in the old days, I would have pulled out something called Harrison's Principles of Internal Medicine. Big book, cost a lot of money, probably cost $150 in today's dollars. And of course, if you look at a book that was printed, that means it's old. Got to be older because it was printed, right? It was most up to date, but it was printed. And basically, you don't buy that $150 book every year. So 12 years ago, something called Up to Date came up. It's an incredible resource. It has to be reviewed, has to be written within 1 year. You can see who wrote it. And then it has to be reviewed every 6 months. So it's up to date. It's a great reference. Now, if I used Up to Date, which I often did, it would probably take me 3 minutes to answer the question, roughly. And I might do it in the room with the patient, but often I then say I have to go to another computer because I can concentrate better when I'm not in the room with somebody. You know what I mean? I don't know if you're letting have to be alone. But instead, I have something called Open Evidence. Now, Open Evidence is a new AI. It uses information from JAMA, all the JAMA Internal Medicine, JAMA ENT, all the JAMA, and New England Journal of Medicine, and things called the Archives of Internal Medicine. So it's got a very broad breadth of information. So I put in the variables: child, tubes, tubes, 2 years, when to remove. That's all. Push the button. I got the answer. And not only did I get the answer, but I could look at her and talk about it. And it came from the otolaryngology, American Academy of Otolaryngology, which are the ear, nose, and throat people. And the answer was, the recommendation is if the tubes are in for more than 3 years, they should be removed. This child had it in for 2 years. So I, as a physician, could give her an answer. The answer was referenced, right? American Academy of Otolaryngology. That means it's the ENT people. I saved her from having to go and see an ENT doctor. She'd have to make an appointment, go there, and cost whatever it is, because she's got to be deductible. It's going to be a few $100s. But as a physician, I could do that. And I also knew where to look and wanted to look. And the PA did not, I don't know if the PA knew where to look, because I don't know who the PA is, but they didn't want to look. They didn't take that extra step. You want a doctor, it could be a PA, a nurse practitioner, who takes that extra step. So you've got to talk to your friends to see who they recommend, because you're not going to get the information from your front desk. The receptionist may not give you the information. They might. They may not, but they might if you know them. Yeah.
If I could jump in real quick, I just have just a general question about this process. Zorba, you've been a doctor for decades and decades. Has the protocol changed over the years where this kind of thing is discouraged, where a physician is going to give extra help for maybe something that the patient didn't come in for, because the medical practice or the medical industry as a whole wants to keep people going to different specialists to juice up the bill?
Oh yeah,
that's okay.
Well, I don't think they're saying to juice up the bill, but I think they're saying to fill the schedule.
Fill the schedule. It's the same thing.
Yeah. Come on, it's the same thing. Fill the schedule, and also, I don't want to take the time anymore because I want to see somebody else. I want to get there. They're called RVUs, and how many RVUs I make may determine in the corporation whether or not I get a bonus or not. Oh no, I think a lot of things. But on the other hand, when I first started medicine, I couldn't even get this information.
True, right.
So that's the other side of it. So you want a practitioner that gives you their heart and also knows what they're doing. And once again, ask your friends, that's it. Or, if you go to a receptionist, they may or may not tell you. They may say, hey, I would go to Dr. So-and-so. But they may not, because they're looking to keep, because they don't do that. And you may need to search, and you may need to go 30 miles away. You may not be in the town next door. I mean, if your insurance goes 30 or 40 miles away. I have people who came to me from probably 30, 40 miles away. They moved away, had another doctor who was good, but then they came back to me. I had some people who stayed with me for years because we had a connection. And that's what you're looking for. So I hope that answers your question. I know I wanted to give you, though, an example of how it's important to know what you're doing and then take that extra step.
I think that's great. That was very helpful. Yeah. And I guess I won't be so reluctant to, like you say, when you're talking to the front desk scheduling folks, their ego isn't involved necessarily. So it'd be easier to say, hey, can I get the physician? So
yeah, I want to get a physician there. And then you ask other questions too. How long have they been here? Where have they practiced? You can also interact with that receptionist at the front desk. And you may get some information where you can read between the lines.
Okay.
So one just quick example while I'm at it. Fractured my ankle. I'm out in California. I've got to decide whether or not I'm going to use the orthopedic surgeon at the hospital or I'm going to get in an airplane and go back to Madison. I have to make this decision, okay? Got a fractured ankle. I know it needs surgery. I'm in a hospital. It's a community hospital, but I don't know who the surgeon is, but I'm going to get the surgeon on call. I got to make the decision. So then I talked to the ER doc. She was great. So we had a little connection there. And when she came back and told me, I knew my ankle was fractured. Your ankle is fractured. You're going to get Dr. Lamontes on call. And I looked her in the eye and I said, because I talked to her to, ask her, about her family. And I said, would you have him operate on your child or your husband? And she looked at me and she said, absolutely. No pause, okay? If she had paused and said, well, he's the doctor on call, that would have been my answer, right? I'm going back to Madison, which I didn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If she said, with a pause, like a pause, he's on call. You know that. So the receptionist might give you that other information. Right. So, especially if you have a relationship. Also, if this is in town, go in there and talk to the receptionist in person. Come on, one-to-one. Yeah. You'll get more information. He or she might say, Dr. So-and-so might be a good fit for you. The receptionists know, they do know what's going on.
Right. I think that's a great idea. Okay, good. You've given me some things to work with, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, and thanks for listening to the podcast. Pass it on. We love doing it. We love giving good curated information. As you know, there's a lot of rubbish coming out of Washington, and our goal is to take the rubbish, put it into the garbage can, and give good information.
I do appreciate you guys. I was so happy that even with the national funding shift, you guys found a way to stay on the air.
Thank you.
And yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I really appreciate you guys. And the history of Tom. I missed that interaction.
I know. I'll pass it on to him. Yep.
The last thing I would say is if you happen to find an excuse to be in Western Oregon, July 25th of this year is the anniversary. They do a little Stand By Me deal here in town.
Oh, really? What do they do for that?
I don't know. I'm new to town. I've been here a little over a year, and I was working most of last summer, so I didn't really get the chance to know what's going on. But I'm guessing that it's going to be a pretty consolidated event because it's a small community, but they host a lot of folks that come through. So, but I don't know specifically if they're going to have what the events are.
Are they going to do recreate the Barfarama?
No, that's it. That's the first thing I was thinking about. Right. That's what I was thinking about. The pie eating contest. Sorry.
Barfarama.
I bet they do. Now I am curious. Now I need to do a little research. I was kind of dragging my feet on that.
That's the first thing I'm thinking of. I'm picturing
They could make T-shirts where it looks like there's leeches attached to your body.
That's
all right. Sorry, I'll stop. Thanks so much for calling in and listening to the show. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys so very much. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. You take care now.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr. Zorba.
Bye.
Yep.
Thanks so much for that call. 608-492-9292. Call anytime. You like the leeches, the Barfarama.
Well, I was thinking of the pie eating contest. And remember, ask Dr. Zorba at gmail.com.
Okay, let's do a listener email. The following question came from Franny from Barnum, Minnesota, who writes, "Hello, Dr. Zorba. I've listened to you since the late 1980s.
Oh, wonderful.
I have loved your weekly show, and now I await your podcast every week.
Oh,
you have such helpful information."
That is great.
Great. Thanks, Franny. My question is about statins. I'm 74 years old, 135 pounds, and a retired teacher. Recently, and here she gave some stats here on her scores. Cardiac calcium score, 151.
That's good.
C-reactive protein, 0.41.
That's good.
Cholesterol, 167. HDL, 58. LDL, 100. Triglycerides, 46. Blood pressure is 120/80.
Oh, these are great.
Glucose, 98. No diabetes.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah. She goes on. There are cardio issues in my family. My mother died at 73 of a brain aneurysm. Her brother died at age 69 of an aortic dissection.
Okay.
My living sister, who's 61, is on a statin due to her cardio calcium score at 95. So this is why
not a high number. 95.
Okay.
Not at all.
She said this is why I went to the cardiologist.
Yeah.
I walk 3 miles daily, do daily yoga, lift weights every other day, eat the Mediterranean diet, rarely have sugar, no prescriptions, no cancer in my family. I have polycystic ovaries, but it's not an issue. I thought I was in pretty good shape. So now it is recommended that I start taking a statin drug to keep the cardiac plaque from breaking off and causing a stroke.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
What is your latest opinion on 74-year-olds starting a statin? I read somewhere that after age 75, statins aren't prescribed. Is there anything other than the drug to take besides a statin?
Well, first of all, they are prescribed after age 75.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, they're prescribed. We prescribe them. I mean, I'm taking a statin and I'm over 75.
You're not over 75.
I'm 39 going at 75.
Yeah.
78. Oh, my God, I can't even keep my numbers straight. No, but I'm over 75. She's got great numbers.
Yeah.
Got great numbers. What happens is if you get plugged into the Framingham Heart Study calculator with these numbers and you put in the age 75, it'll pop up, oh, you should be on a statin. They're great numbers. Put the numbers in at 50, it'll say you have a low risk of a heart attack. Put the numbers in at 60, it'll be a low risk, below 7.5%. Wouldn't recommend a statin. It's the number 75, and it's like, well, 60 or 70 or 80% of the people should be on statins. I mean, it's a number. It's sort of, and I think that's a blanket number that I think is overprescribed. So would I take a statin? First of all, I don't think of a family history. Aortic dissection, I'm not sure whether or not that was cardiovascular-wise recommended, but you can get that without any cardiovascular problem at all. It happens with young people. It's where the aorta dissects. It goes into two pieces. You die from it unless you're actually right in front of the hospital when it happens. It's a traumatic thing that happens to your aorta that may or may not be related to anything cardiac at all. Same with the brain aneurysm that her mother had. So I would say these numbers are great. Keep doing what you're doing. If I had these numbers, I would not take a statin. I just wouldn't do it. I don't think it's necessary. I think it's overkill. Now, I'll get pushback from the medical community and say, well, you're not paying attention to the standardized formula that we use to recommend statins. But that's because I am not using standardization to make that determination. And science, you still need it curated. You still have to look at it compared to who you are. So if you look at that formula, for instance, it doesn't take into consideration how much exercise you're doing. I mean, the formula doesn't have anything to do with exercise. The formula, by the way, doesn't have anything to do with family history. It doesn't say that. The formula does not take into consideration obesity, and so there are things that are not, and whether or not you eat ultra-processed foods. So she's doing everything outside the formula, but yet this very narrow formula says take a statin. I don't think she needs one. I would not recommend it if she were my patient.
All right. Have a healthy living question for Zorba? Just post on our Facebook page. You can email askdrzorba@gmail.com or call the show at 608-492-9292.
Just Coffee Cooperative is a worker-owned, fair trade, and organic coffee roasting cooperative in Madison, Wisconsin, dedicated to a model of commerce based on transparency, respect for labor, and environmental sustainability.
That's right, Zorba, and we both love their coffee, and we drink it all the time.
Absolutely.
One ingredient, no flavors, no additives, just coffee.
Use code ZORBA10 for 10% off your entire order on their website, www.justcoffee.coop. Just Coffee Cooperative, justice from the grounds up.
Have a healthy living question for Zorba? Just post on our Facebook page, email askdrzorba@gmail.com, or call the show anytime at 608-492-9292. All right, Zorba. It's mom joke time. Every time I say this, you start laughing. It's mom joke time. Yeah, my mom wrote all these jokes, recorded them, sent them to me, and I love her for it. And here's another one.
How many mothers send their children jokes?
I don't know. More should, I feel like. Okay, let's hear one of her mom jokes.
Mom jokes.
I just finished a whole podcast series where they only interviewed luggage experts. And frankly, there was a lot to unpack.
Oh, gosh.
Lot to unpack there. Thanks, Mom. That was a good one. Should we do another listener email?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. This came from a listener, Tom, who writes, "Hi, Dr. Zorba. I have two questions. First, on your old NPR show, you spoke about a website that reviews prescription drugs. It does not accept any advertisement money from pharmaceutical companies. Is that site still around and available? And secondly, what are your thoughts on tart cherry extract supplements for treating gout?"
Well, first of all, gout, if you have gout, it's really important. The prescription anti-gout medicines like allopurinol made the biggest difference in gout. Prior to that, we had no good way of really treating gout. We would do stuff, you would say, well, don't eat shrimp and lobster. Well, in the Midwest, we don't eat a lot of shrimp and lobster. And we would put people on other diets. We would say, don't eat liver. Who eats liver these days? I ate it when I was a kid. But the diet did very little to reduce it. So the prescription antibiotics work really well. Avoiding certain things, for instance, gout flares are often associated with high fructose corn syrup. It's one of the things to avoid when you have gout, and that's important. So whether or not a cherry extract will work, try it, see if it makes a difference. If you have gout flares, because we know that gout is somewhat diet related and it's also randomly related. It's from elevated uric acid, and we know that's the chief cause for it, but I definitely would try it, see if it works for you. The websites come and go. I'm not sure exactly which website I was talking.
Was it maybe Consumer Lab, maybe?
Well, the website that reviews non-pharmaceutical drugs,
right.
consumerlab.com.
Stuff, yeah.
I like that. People say, look, I belong to that website. That is the supplement website to go to. It costs you money to join it, but if you're using a supplement, that's the way to go because you want to make sure what's in the supplement is actually in the supplement. What's on the label doesn't mean it's in the supplement because the feds do not regulate it. And also it talks about the supplements and the cheapest supplement that you can get, which has the most bang for the buck, which often has not the prettiest label.
Right.
So consumerlab.com I love. As for getting good information, from prescription drugs, it's hard to say what's perfect. It really is. I always recommend that if you're interested in a medication, you want to go to a reliable website from an academic institution. University of Wisconsin, Mayo Clinic, Johns Hopkins, Cleveland Clinic, Scripps. That's where you want to go for that information. But one specific site, the one, whatever I was recommending years ago, out of sight, out of mind.
All right. Before we clock out, Zorba, and we actually have a punch clock, listeners, where we have a time card. And clunk, click.
You know what? You got to put it.
I need a sound effect.
You know what? You got to put in the sound effect. The sound effect. You are going to put in the sound effect.
I'll try.
Remember, it's click click.
Yeah, click click.
Because you got to put it in.
I'll
it
find
makes
one.
a sound because it prints on it.
Did you ever have a job that had an actual punch clock?
I worked in the gumball factory. I
that's
punched in
right.
and punched out.
Yeah.
And then I worked in the hospital. I worked as an orderly. I worked down in shipping. In shipping, I learned something very important. I took over in a summer job for somebody who was on vacation for 6 weeks. And it took him all day to do his job. Here it is. I'm a college student. I figured out efficiencies. And I finished the job in about 4 hours. And he took 8 hours. And after I did that for a few days, they told me that I should go down, because I had extra time, I should go down and rearrange the back storage of the storeroom, which was filled with all the stuff that no one wanted, categorized. And from that, I learned that I could take 8 hours to actually do it was in 4 hours.
Got to draw that work out a little bit.
And you know what? That's what it was. I learned how to actually fill the job with the amount of time. Augustana Hospital does not exist, so I can
you won't get in trouble
dish
for this?
them. I can dish them. That's right.
Okay, before we clock out.
Clock out. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep, there's the sound. We always love it when our listeners chime in with helpful information.
We do.
This email
Chime
came...
out.
Yeah, chime in, chime out. This came from Catherine in Buffalo, New York, who writes, "Hi, Dr. Zorba and Karl. I love the podcast and just finished listening while walking my dog, Colby."
Oh, wonderful.
Colby. You were talking about an old AM radio show called Chicken Man, who is a very goofy,
Chicken Man.
goofy
Right.
crime fighter.
Right.
And Mad Magazine
Yes.
is a perfect analogy.
Yes.
So this is a while back on a
Yeah.
different podcast.
Chicken
You were
Man,
talking
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
She goes on, "It was nuts. I remember listening to it here in Buffalo on our local radio station when I was a kid. The intro went something like, Chicken Man, he's everywhere.
That's right.
And I think you can hear the old shows on YouTube. Anyways, stay well." And what I did, of course, I tracked down the theme here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because you
Well, let
haven't
me
heard
hear
this
it.
since you were a
I haven't
kid,
heard
probably,
it.
right?
Yeah, I haven't heard it for
So this is Chicken Man.
Okay.
This
I'm
is from like
laughing
the
thinking
60s and
about it.
70s
Yeah.
radio show. Here's Chicken Man.
Now, another exciting episode in the life of the most fantastic crime fighter the world has ever known.
How does that hit you, Zorba? Is that just like you remember
it
it?
just makes me feel so good. It comes right to my heart. He's everywhere. I remember that.
I was not aware of this show
Yeah.
at all.
Oh, you were aware of Chicken Man?
Never heard of Chicken
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Well, it was. You know what? that's when we didn't have a lot of things to choose from on the radio. But it was a great show. It was funny.
It sounds pretty funny.
Well, it was, you had Batman, you had Superman. Superman's kind of dippy. And then you had Chicken Man.
A true superhero.
Man. He's everywhere. Gosh.
All right. Can you indulge me a little bit in this? I mean, I guess you kind of did indulge me there, but just a little bit more here. So we just heard some radio that you heard from your younger days.
Yes.
I grew up in the 80s and the early 90s, so I wanted to share with you what I was being exposed to.
Okay.
Usually on the school bus every day. So the 80s and 90s, they were the height of like the radio shock jock era with really obnoxious dudes squawking and, bloviating over sound effects and stuff. Often inappropriately flirting with the callers sometimes.
Yeah.
They had names like Greg Thunder, Hollywood Henderson, and Tony Fly. So this is a sampling from, so I grew up in the Minneapolis area. This is the radio station KDWB. This is the big, top 40 station.
Like WLS in Chicago.
Was that what it was? Like all top 40
Dick
pop?
Biondi, who, by the way, they took away his job, but although then they put it back because of a joke that they considered to be bad.
Okay.
And say, let's see, I'll kiss you on the strikes. It was a baseball game.
Okay.
I'll kiss you on the strikes, and you kiss me on the.
I know where you're going. Okay. Beep.
No, you do it that way.
I'll put the timestamp
I'll
sound
kiss
in
you
there.
on the strikes. You say put on the timestamp. That's right.
Anyways, okay. So this. Okay, you really wanted to get that out. This is KDWB seemed to be the choice of bus drivers of my childhood because I heard a lot of KDWB as a kid, and I just put together a couple clips. I scoured YouTube. There's all kinds of clips from the 80s and 90s. This is what was going on in my childhood, and when I was listening to radio on the school bus every morning.
It's your boy Tony Fly. We got 30 minutes absolutely. Stop us on the way. Yo!
Hi.
Hey!
Hey.
Hey!
I wanted to know.
Hey! Hey! Get your hand off there. Tony Fly, 30 minutes absolutely. Stop us on the way. Hello?
Yeah, I was.
Two ums in 1 second.
Okay.
Continue.
Bye-bye.
30 minutes absolutely. Stop us on the way. It's me, Tony Fly, just the kind of guy you want to have babysitting your children.
Can I crash something?
You know something?
What?
Barney's dead.
Barney's dead?
Yep.
No, Crash?
He's dead.
Are you Crash?
He's dead.
No, can I crash something?
And there's no Santa Claus.
We crash?
There's no such thing as the Easter Bunny either.
No.
JDW being Tony Fly. Hello?
What color am I?
Who is this?
This is Chrissy.
Hey, Chrissy.
Yeah?
You are caller number 10.
Yeah!
You got the brand new Sega Genesis video game, Balls.
Woo!
Let's say it together. Balls. Does that feel good?
Yep.
Hey, do me a favor, give me the phrase and page.
Nobody plays more music than KDWB.
So I know that was kind of a long clip, but that was.
Hey, it's your clip, man.
Did that formulate who I am right now?
Yes, of
I mean,
course.
listening to
It was
that
an
every
important part
morning
of
on
your
the bus.
Your prefrontal cortex developed in the midst of that.
Just
and that
obnoxious
explains
dudes.
your personality.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. Whereas I probably listened to symphonic music.
Well, you had
which
Chicken Man.
explains, yeah, we did have Chicken Man. That's
Chicken
right.
Man.
That's right.
Okay, I guess we got through that one.
But getting back to a side about this that's important. There are things that develop our personality of knowing whether or not things are right or wrong and everything like that. And that shot jock stuff, there's nothing wrong with that because then you begin to learn, hey, come on, this stuff is kind of on the side of obnoxious, but it's funny because it's obnoxious. And then society changed and they stopped doing it. There's no more, the shock jockey stuff doesn't sell.
Right.
So what you didn't know was it was selling you the commercial on the radio.
Exactly.
You were listening to that.
Yeah.
And then they went into the commercial for you to buy Hostess cream-filled cupcakes.
I ate a lot of those, actually.
Yeah, that's right.
Ho-Hos,
Probably
Twinkies.
on there, man. That was exactly it.
Little Debbie's, right?
Little Debbie's.
Hey, we got to bring back Little Debbie. It's been a while. She's
Where is
still
she?
around.
She's
still
downstairs,
she's downstairs in the
isn't she?
fridge. Yeah, I still have her. We'll do something on that sometime here, listeners. Anyways, that's what did we learn today? That's it. That was the show.
That was it.
It's kind of a long one, but
was
I
it.
think we learned a lot of fun things. We talked about super green lawn and the chemicals that
talked
on
about
there?
chemicals on the lawn. Very important chemicals
Yeah.
on the lawn. Yeah.
You helped out a caller who had issues with finding a new doc.
Right.
You gave him
How
advice.
do you find a new doc? What do you do, doc, nurse, practitioner, PA? How do you find one that listens to you and one that is smart?
There you go. We talked about statins, heard a mom joke. You talked about tart cherry extract supplements, and we heard a bunch of radio garbage.
Radio garbage. We love doing this, folks. Remember, 608-492-9292. Email me at askdrzorba@gmail.com. I love it. And our website, drzorba.org. And don't forget to stay well.